Andrea, we're going to be talking about last weekend's holiday movies and Mistletoe Murders. I think that you thought one killed it and one just died.
That
You
is
ready to
correct.
go?
Let's dive in.
This is Eric,
This is Andrea.
and this is Hallmark Mysteries
And more.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel.
I think we are having some different feelings about this season's movies.
I think we are. And which is really funny because our preview show, you were the one not looking forward to most of them. And I was like, yes, they all sound amazing.
Ooh.
And now, about a month in, we are flipped roles.
I will say I am not saying, oh my God, this is,
The best
great,
seasons
the
ever.
greatest thing ever. But I'm finding it, other than the one Austrian, I found it at least they're all watchable. What you expect for a holiday movie. Not great, but I haven't found them terrible. But I deal with slow pace a lot better than you do. So,
Well, I will say, in recent years, this is probably the worst this far into the season. This is the worst that I've personally remember. It's been a while for me. Like, this has just been kind of dud after dud after dud for myself. And I know for a lot of, because I get a lot of DMs too, and people sharing their thoughts. And I am not the only one who thinks this. There's quite a few people who have also said, I am right there with you. Like, I am going back to the older movies because this season is just, it's not great.
well, it's kind of like going back to the older seasons with these movies because that's the
I
thing.
find the older ones are better though. Like, I don't know if they're better written, they're cuter, these are not it. I don't know what's happening, but these are not good.
The older ones, well,
they were predictable, but they were like a cutesy fun. Like, they kind of borderline they're trying to be predictable, but yet they're trying to have new things in, but it's really boring. Like, a lot of them are just really slow.
I will say the one that you have, like Christmas Charade, is probably the only one really that I think was not of the standard trope.
Formula. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that's really the only one I recommend when people have been asking me what to watch. And I said, honestly, that's the only one I've recommended. I said, if you're going to watch one, that's it. I don't have any that I can say, yes, this is another one I would highly recommend if you have to, because most people don't have the time to watch all of these. And so I don't want to send them to a movie that I'm like, it was a 3-star. Like, it's a waste of their time. So instead I say Mistletoe Murders.
I don't think a 3-star is a waste of your time. Like I say, I'm having an okay time with it. I'm finding
Eric,
some
stop
stuff
selling.
I like,
I'm
but I
having
am
an
not
okay
having.
time.
I will say I am not having the ones where, like at this point, 2 years ago, we had Ghost of Christmas Always, right? Like a movie where I'm like, this could be the best movie of the year. While it was much later, last year we had Round and Round, a movie that I was like, this is the best movie of the year. In fact, this may be one of the best holiday movies of all time. And we haven't had anything like Christmas Charade, really cute, won't deny it. But if that ends up being the best of the year, that's going to, like, it's not to knock Christmas Charade because I think it's adorable, but that should not be a best of the year. So I don't know.
Yeah, I was just browsing through the rest of the season and Well, let's dive into the last weekend movie and we'll just do a brief. So, okay, just a caveat in case you listened, and we said we were going to review 5 Golden Rings. Let's just say I don't have the strongest, I do have strong takes on it. We'll say that. I literally text Eric and I said, we cannot review that movie. Let's just say I did not enjoy it. It got the lowest ranking from me ever. I gave it 0.5, a half a star.
Wait,
so
that's
I said
your lowest
can't.
ranking of any movie of all
Actually,
time.
I've given, I think I gave something a 0. I don't remember what it was. I know I did give something a 0 once, but this is pretty low.
I have to argue this. My Sweet Austrian
Oh yeah,
holiday.
enjoyable. I can watch that. That's a fine. That to me is a very old Hallmark. Like it's slow, but it had stuff happening. I liked the actors. I can get invested in that. This one, I really struggle with. Hence why, and I don't want to like completely rip it to shreds. That's why we are not reviewing it. But let's just say it was not my favorite. It for me was the lowest of the year. That is by far the bottom movie.
Well,
Probably in the last few
I don't
years.
know what your individual comments were on your post. I will say on mine, I had several people who were like, I liked it. I really liked it. I thought it was good. So
Mine,
I will
we're
say
several echoing
universally,
mine. Mine
I will
said
say
hated
universally
it.
it's not a 0.5. It may not be a
It's probably a.
3.5.
I will honestly, I will tell you this. It's
Well,
probably a one.
you did a poll, so we'll find
I
out.
I did do a poll, and let's just say the poll lived up to what I am saying. And I have a couple people who always are flipped of me, and both of them also did not enjoy it. So it's a tough watch. I would not recommend that. So then our next one was
Oh,
Trivia
wait,
at
hold
St.
on. I will say I thought it was people were expecting a mystery. I don't think it was a mystery. I think it was an adventure. I thought that the two leads, Holland Roden and I don't know what the guy's name is, but they had, I thought, some decent chemistry between the two of them. I enjoyed watching their time on screen. So in
He
that
was on
aspect,
Glee. That is a true thing. So there's a Glee star, okay? He was on Glee apparently.
but so I thought Holland Roden was super cute and I really liked her in it. So that's why I will say it's not a 0.5. But
Rare.
I'm not gonna fight you too much because it is a slow burn of a movie. It's probably a movie that most people would say, hey, I'm gonna keep it on while I fold laundry and do something. But for me, like I say, I didn't think it I thought it was a okay movie.
Well, then we had Trivia at St. Nick's, which it was fine. I mean, honestly, the next three, they were all like 3 stars for me. Like the last three movies of the weekend. It was a really rough weekend overall for myself. I mean, they were all average. Santa
That's
Tell
probably
Me,
because
'Tis the Season
Minnesota
to
had a
Be
bad
Irish.
basketball game or something, and so your mood was just ruined.
That is also true. I went to the game and that was a rough ending.
See,
Whew.
that's what it
Don't get me
is.
started on that.
That's what it
Jeez.
really was.
Yes.
You turned
So
into the
like for
Grinch.
me, again, all three of them are very much 3 stars. Like there was nothing special. I didn't hate them. I didn't love them. That those would be my like, hey, let's throw it on. Let's put up Christmas decorations as those movies are playing or bake cookies. So none of those were standouts. So for me, my overall winner for the weekend is one that you haven't watched yet. This would be me because I have to pick one. It would be 'Tis the Season to Be Irish. Only because again, it's got Ireland, and so I have now found that if you stick a movie and you throw it into another country, that does it for me. If that movie would have been based in the US, it would have been gosh awful and probably a 1 star movie. But Ireland, I enjoyed that part, and it gave it a little bit more fun things to pay attention to. But that one's a slow burn. Santa Tell Me, I liked it. Again, I gave it a higher ranking than 'Tis the Season to Be Irish, but forgettable. I mean, it's a forgettable one for me. And then the Trivia at St. Nick's, that one's cute. It started great for me, but then it became too much trivia and it kind of started to lose me. I know you really liked that. So tell us your thoughts on those three.
So, as you said, I didn't see the Irish one. I totally forgot to watch it because there are a lot of movies. And I will say what I did do with my time. I watched Mistletoe Murders again. So that probably says something, right? Yes, the trivia, that was the one I was most looking forward to because I love trivia. And I tell you what, I was not disappointed in that aspect. But at the same time, was there anything beyond that that was really special in the movie? No. I thought Celeste, it's like one of the pet peeves where when someone's just so obsessive on something, they
Yeah.
kind of get to be unlikable. And I thought she crossed the line a few times for me. Brad Doherty just it's Doherty, right? That's how you pronounce his last name.
Yeah.
But
He's like a puppy dog.
Yeah, he's just a likable guy, and I had no idea what was with the international. I thought there was going to be some international thing. I don't even know what that existed in the movie for. Why the international house with the student and the Romanian football player, which is not a, I guess, I don't know, whatever. So, like I said, I had a lot of fun. I thought it was super cute how they put the Hallmark trivia in, and I did go 3 for 3.
I missed one of the questions. I had to ask you. I was like, "Oh, there's 3." So
yes.
again, I tuned out at some point in that movie.
So I thought that was cute, just doing a little Hallmark, and the Hallmark's done it in a couple of the movies this year where they kind of referenced.
Cute.
They did it in the what is it? The Saint. What was the next one that called? The one with Aaron Craig Hall?
Santa Tell Me.
Santa Tell Me. They did the thing where they referenced the Hallmark movie thing in there. And I'll tell you what, I never really was a super big fan of hers, but I'm just starting to actually like her a lot more. Yeah. And thinking she definitely carries a movie and elevates the movie. I used to think, and it probably gets back to because, where I am on an island. What's the movie with her and Taylor that everyone had to be you or something? No, something.
Oh, with Tyler?
Yeah, the one that everyone just goes crazy over that I think is kind of creepy. But I never really was a huge fan of hers, but the last few movies I found her just wonderful. But Daniel Lissig, I told you this, A December Bride, he was beyond creepy in that movie. And I just, as a result, I don't like him. He could be the greatest guy. And that movie just creeped me out beyond belief, where he's now just ruined for me. So that movie didn't stand a chance, even though I liked her. As you said, nothing special, interesting, unique about the premise. I don't know about you. I saw that his real name was Nick within the opening credits. I knew he was going to be.
Here's me writing the wrong thing on my own review. Nick, Chris.
Yeah, no, all the Chris's. But
I'm like, guys, I'm half paying attention at this point. This is where I've fallen into this. I'm like, it's a name. But It Was Always You was the movie you're thinking of.
Yes. And then like I said, I didn't see the Irish one, so I can't really have an opinion. I probably will be like you. Oh, they relied on the scenery, is my guess. And
it could have been set anytime. I mean, that was one where, and it was also a house renovating one right after Santa Tell Me, which was house renovating. So they should have at least fleshed out, let's just exchange one of these for a different weekend. Now here's where the breakdown comes. So,
all right,
5 golden rings or gold rings, 0%. Nobody voted it. Nobody voted it as their favorite.
Not one.
Not one vote. Not one vote.
Wow.
Yeah. So I said it. I think and I had 150 people. All right, and this is only half. It's only been up for 12 hours.
But it's really not a fair thing because it's such a different movie. Then it's not a holiday feel good.
Trying to defend it anyway. Next one. I'm just saying, I'm going to keep going through the percentage.
I understand it.
He's trying to save it. Trivia at St. Nick's was 15%. Santa Tell Me 72%, and then Tis the Season to Be Irish was 13%. Now I will also say the
Hardys, right?
Well, I will also say that Tis the Season. I have some Hardys that I think follow, but I don't watch it, so I don't know if I have a ton of diehard Hardys. But Tis the Season, I did get DMs saying, "Hey, I haven't had time to watch that," so that could be a little bit higher. My guess that might be in the second place once people watch it again, just because of Ireland. But overall, a lot of people, myself included, a lackluster weekend. Now, looking ahead to next weekend, Eric, this looks like a really rough weekend. So we have kicking it off Thursday, Reason for This Season, and that's the one with Kevin McGarry and Taylor Cole.
Which I love Taylor Cole.
It does not look the greatest. We have Christmas with the Sings with Benjamin Hollingsworth and Anju Joshi. I will say the preview for that made me really not excited.
I have a little thing that I'm going to find it problematic.
Okay. Jingle Bell Run. This is definitely probably the favorite of the weekend. Ashley Williams and Andrew Walker. Me too. That's my one. And then the last one is The Confessions of a Christmas Letter,
which I'm also looking forward to because it's got Angela from The Office, and then it has bad. I don't know about the premise of the thing, but then it has our friend Lillian from Cases in Mystery Lane. So, but I don't know.
So what's your pick for the weekend?
I'm gonna go
Jingle Bell Run.
Jingle Bell Run.
Yeah, that's mine too. I mean, literally,
but
that
that's written, by the way, by the writers of Crimes of Fashion.
Nice. Oh, okay.
So.
Well, I liked that, and I know I saw that on the cruise, the Hallmark cruise. People got to see that already, so that's kind of exciting. That
wait, that's the one. I thought they saw Jingle Bell Run.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the.
No. Who wrote? Which one are you talking about? Who wrote?
Yeah, no, they wrote Jingle Bell Run.
Okay, yeah. No, the other ones I'm not looking forward to at all. Like this is the point of the season where I'm like, do I watch all of these? Or I mean, I don't like to give a half-star review, and I feel like I'm wasting my time on some of them. Now, I will say I am not going to watch the Hallmark Plus unwrapping ones. I watched 30 minutes of the first one, and it's supposed to be set in St. Paul, which is where I live. And I was all out. It was slow and boring. And after watching the 5 gold rings, I was like, I'm not going to do this to myself. I am just not going to watch those.
Who was the star of this one?
Natalie Hall, who I like. And so we had a good, strong lead, but the supporting acting was very, very rough. Not by like the 4 women leads, but the surrounding characters, very rough for myself. So I said, you know what? Let's just.
Do you get some Cindy Busby though in the first one?
I mean, again, I only watched 30 minutes, and yes, she was in a scene. So, I mean, she has a gift wrapping store, a Christmas gift wrapping store in downtown St. Paul, which we don't have a ton of businesses. And who has a gift wrapping store?
When we did our reviews, I had these all in the bottom tier, with the exception of the Cindy Busby, and because I love me some Cindy Busby. I think here's my prediction. I think one of these movies is going to surprise you this weekend.
I don't know if I'm going to watch them all, to be honest. I don't know. I'm going to really have to debate.
And here's the other thing I'll say, that I don't understand. I do understand, obviously, the 5 gold rings. But other than that, I don't understand the Hallmark mystery movies. They just are basically, oh, hey, we have our 4th movie. We're going to throw it on that channel. It's not, these don't seem like before the real good dramas, the Nikki DeLoach ones where you're kind of like, well, I don't feel good after watching that, right? But but they're intense, right? And they're just regular old Hallmark. I don't get it. Whatever.
Well, I will say, so we mentioned Finding Mr. Christmas last week, and Hallmark is going to air that on Wednesday on the actual Hallmark channel at 7:00. Finding Mr. Christmas, the first 2 episodes. Oh yeah, so shoot. I mean, if you have Friendly, you can always go back and like record it, because that will work. So in case you've ever are on Friendly and you missed recording something, it will let you go back. I don't know if it's 24 hours and record something. So that's a tip. I've done that before. But yeah, that would be a great thing. I'm glad that they're doing that. Unfortunately, one of my favorites had to leave because of an eye injury, so that was a bummer.
Don't go ruining it for me, because I'm only 2 episodes in.
I didn't tell you who it was, but somebody had to leave with an eye injury, unfortunately.
I even have episode. Here's 3. The thing: I actually have my wife watching it.
Does she like it?
She likes having fun. Like, I used to watch Bachelor with her and just kind of make fun of it while we're watching it. So she's sort of getting some revenge, but she has like ones who she likes and doesn't like. So she's a little invested. She doesn't take it too serious, but I don't think it's really too serious a show. Her main thing is she's like, well, the one person I don't like is Jonathan Bennett. So can we vote him off? But I'll say Melissa Peterman.
So good.
Love her. Love her. So, but yeah, it's fun. It's worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's dive into Mistletoe Murders.
Let's do that.
Okay, so we have recap of episode 2, which is called Poison in a Pear Tree, part 2. With time running out to prove her friend's innocence, Emily puts her own secret past on the line to find the real tree farm killer, raising suspicion from Detective Sam Wilner, which, again, it stars Sarah Drew and Peter Mooney. So, Eric,
here's what I have to say. I think we've been a downer. We've been like a lot of negative energy going in the universe. Well, I was going to say,
what did we like? That's what I was just kicking off with.
So now we get to talk Mistletoe Murders. So we get to transition and now put some good out in the universe, because we just put a whole lot of negative out there.
I know.
You want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
You
go. Just because you've watched it, or you've not watched it, but you've heard it. Right. So one thing that I was actually surprised about, I thought this series, again, I didn't do any research. I just been coming into these. I thought this was all going to be these 6 episodes having her solve this one mystery. So when it wrapped up, I was like, what are we going to do the next 4 episodes?
I did not know either, because I knew that when you listen to it, each season, I want to say, is maybe 6 episodes, and it's each 2. It seems to be working exactly the same way. I didn't know if they were going to just extend the one or not, which we obviously found out the answer.
Yeah. So I liked how they, they wrapped up things in this episode. I had a hunch that it was going to be Steve Lund's baby. So I enjoy that the setting that they used for this as well. So like the barn, that was one of my favorite places, the old barn. I had farm feels there, and it looked like a legit one. And then especially with like let me circle to that later in this episode, because I am going to come back to that performance. So I will just say the ending scene was fabulous, and I will say more about that later.
Wait, Emily, are we talking ending or the climatic scene?
The climatic scene.
Okay.
We'll circle back to the barn. We're going to come back to the barn. I thought that Emily and Detective Sam's relationship, it moved along at a nice, steady pace. Like they didn't do anything too fast or drastic. It felt real. I loved the little like peppermint, hot chocolate thingies. Those looked, I'm not a big like hot chocolate person, but I thought those looked fun, and that was a cute date. I thought the daughter, Violet, as you had said, like, oh, I hope that they do, more with her. And I thought she had great lines, and she brought some comedy to the episodes. This is it's such a great series. I mean, it again doesn't feel Hallmark. It's just a nice, different tone, why aren't they putting this on the Hallmark mystery? Like this would be great for people who love a mystery. Like it's so good. So they're sitting on something that I hope people are watching. And I know most of the people that I've heard from who have watched it really are enjoying it. And so for me, I loved it, and I'm all in, and I can't wait to see where they take this, and seeing what happens. Like, who is Emily? We still don't know. So what about you?
So you touched on it. They're 2, 44-minute episodes to each mystery. Would you have liked it better if they had just done 3 regular movies? Because that's essentially what it is, right? That they just break in half. You like it being broke out that way?
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, it feels very Murder, She Wrote-ish. I don't mind a good 45-minute. I thought it was fine.
Okay. All right.
Would you prefer movie?
I don't know, because it gives you something to look forward to, but then I'm very anxious because I want to watch it, and you have to wait. So patience may not be one of my best things. So to me, the other thing, like I agree with everything you said. Half of my notes are exactly what you said, right? But it's just it's funny because earlier you talked about the under wraps or Christmas under wraps, whatever, just being like not good secondary actors. And I was thinking, you know what? Hallmark Plus, they probably didn't have the budget and sort of made concessions. Whereas this, to me, this seems like studio made, like Netflixy. It's the writing is fantastic. The direction, the light, like it is a well produced thing. I was like noticing some of the shots when I watched it. I did watch it multiple times. And so after you watch it a few, you kind of pay attention to different things and you start paying attention to smaller details. And just like some of the camera shots were just really good. So love it. And like you said, the snappy dialogue, especially between Emily and Violet, they're great. They're great. You did mention the hot chocolate date, which he took one sip and left. No way in hell am I getting that hot chocolate in front of me and not downing it. Souvenir cup too. Like whatever. I know it's always there, but it should have at least had half of it gone or something, right? It was like,
but then they have to do that every take, so I'm sure that's why
I know. I don't care. But what they drank was a peppermint spiced white hot with lime infused marshmallows.
I love how you looked this up.
I looked up, and you basically take hot chocolate and you spike it with candy cane vodka and a splash of vanilla. I don't know. there's no recipe for infusing marshmallows with lime. There's making them, so you have to go like homemade stuff. But I would be all down totally. I don't like the lime peppermint. It's kind of a mojito-esque thing. I don't know, but that peppermint spice white hot, like I'm like, I think I'll be doing that this holiday season. So I am
Well,
all
you
down
let us
for it.
know.
But he was supposed to be taking his daughter to go get like a spiked hot chocolate. So I don't know what's Violet.
I'm
She is
sure they have like a
mature,
mocktail
and
hot chocolate.
I do have a line there later that comes in, but um the we had someone ask like, oh, it's on Audible. I don't know if I should listen to it first, watch it first. Can I do it at the same time? I will say they have different endings, so I don't think
Oh,
it would
interesting.
hurt to watch and listen at the same time, but they're short, right? Same kind
So
of
wait,
thing.
this episode had a different ending than the Audible series? Like there was a
Correct.
different killer?
Correct. And
Wow.
the bribe was only 20,000, which seems much more reasonable than 40,000. I don't see Marcus going ahead and saying,
Huh.
"Okay, I'll give you 40 grand." 20 grand is a big ask, but 40 grand to go bribe, I found that a little bit too rich for my blood.
Interesting.
And then when you're saying the ending, we had different takes on the ending because I really liked the last like couple minutes that, or not even a minute, like minute and a half, that montage when they showed all the different characters enjoying their little Christmas here and stuff, and it had some really good music. I really loved that ending of the movie. I thought it was super cute and a lot of fun.
Well, anything that we didn't like, I will say for myself, at first watching, I felt like it felt a little rushed, putting everything together. So the first time viewing, I of course was multitasking because to watch all of these Hallmark Christmas movies. So, I mean, as someone said, they're like, how do you get it all done? I'm like, a lot of the times it's some multitasking. So a lot when we review them, I try to sit and watch and really watch, pay attention a second time. And so for the first viewing, there was a lot going on, and so I missed quite a bit. And then when I got to actually sit, take notes, and watch that second time, um, I'm like, oh yeah, I like this a lot better. It flows together. I missed some things, like the whole like the bribing and the money. Missed all of those. So I caught the major things that first time. So I think that if you also are watching this, how you watch some of the Hallmark movies at like a kind of it's in the background and you're half watching. This one actually is probably you need to sit down and pay attention to watch. I
Totally
will
agree.
say that. So in case anyone else is like myself, this would be carve out 45 minutes to sink into this one. Otherwise, I really the only other like critique I had was they didn't have as much voiceover. So Emily didn't have the voiceover that she did that first episode.
It
That's it.
had,
Otherwise, I loved it all.
I'll get to it in a second, but it had the first one where game recognizes game, best line. This had a really great line in it as well. But so what I didn't like, I'm kind of like you. My first one is I pretty much liked everything, but what I didn't like were two, and it's getting a little bit petty. But when Emily, like she's getting all tied up, and she's like, "Oh, I hid my phone on record. You'll never find it." When
It's
he came up
right
to
on the
her, she had it
hay.
in her hand with the flashlight, right? Like he knows where like she had it in her damn hand. So I found that being a little bit whatever. Like it annoyed me. And then I'm sorry, but the spooking of the horse to clonk him out, like that was just silly. Like, oh, it's Shadow's going to knock him unconscious because she kicks a bucket. If the horse is that spooked and that crazy, it is not pulling families around on a sleigh and stuff.
Was
So
that the
I
horse that
found
was
it.
pulling? I thought there was one that was a little wild. Wasn't that
So
the wild one that they were trying to break?
I thought they only had one horse. I didn't know.
No, there was
I,
other horses when the first
okay.
time that
All right. So
I
maybe
paid
there.
attention. I love me some horse. There were some horses
Okay.
that first time.
But I thought it was just silly that he conked him out. So whatever. But once again, I'm being petty
Well trained
because
horse.
I liked it. It's a fantastic series. It is really doing, if that's what I'm saying is wrong, it's a pretty darn good series.
Well, that segues into my standout scene in performance, the horse. No. It actually was. It was technically in there, but the barn scene when she went up to the top with the ladder. I will say again, having grown up on a farm and there are old barns, and when she fell through the barn roof, that gave me feels of childhood. Not that I fell through a barn roof, but have I climbed up into barn lofts that we were told not to do? Yes, I did many a times because we had, what do you do as like a, third,
Right.
fourth grader? You climb up in there and then you walk around, and thankfully you're light enough at that age where you don't fall through, or hopefully don't. We never did. I'm sure her dad maybe could have if he was up there, but like we made little lofts, like a little area for us to hang out into. So I have a lot of feels about barn lofts and I really enjoy them. So when she fell through and hit her head, that was very concerning. And I will not be going into barn lofts anymore.
Were
But I
you
will
ever tied
say,
up and duct taped?
I was just gonna say the
when you were
next
there?
part with the duct tape. I also enjoyed. No, I was never. No, but like I liked how she, was had her hands back and she was gonna try to get herself out of that somehow and realize that's not happening. And then they did the spooking of the horse. I enjoyed that scene, I guess, more than you did.
Yeah, like I said, it was just silly. Oh no, kaplunk! I'm knocked out. So, all right. Well,
Horses are
my
smart.
standout is Violet Sierra Maryland, or excuse me, it's Violet, played by Sierra Maryland Riley. Uh, Teens, kids, super hard to do. It helps that she's actually 26 years old.
I was just gonna say, I'm like,
So, right. But she plays a great teenager. And she had the line of the night with when Sam's like, "What are you going to do?" And she's like, "Oh, we're getting wasted and playing spin the bottle." Like, what a great line to throw back at your dad. She's just like, her attitude. See, that's the thing. Her attitude could be annoying, but she pulls it off in a way that you're just like, okay, this kid's hilarious. Like I said, she's 26, so it's got that whole thing going, whatever. So I just find her delightful with the character. And like I said earlier, I love her interactions with her and Emily. It's even better. And you're planning on listening to the book, right? Or to the podcast thing, whatever,
yeah,
right?
I feel like, especially now with its
It
different
it
endings.
is
Yes.
actually, her and Emily are even better. She is
How long are each of those episodes?
they, not long.
So
Like,
45 minutes or not that long?
I'll text you.
Okay,
It's
shorter.
they're short. Yeah, like you listen to them. I listen to it in like when I go out and walk the dog and do whatever, and so I listen to them in like two set, whatever. So
Two
kind of
dog
the similar.
walks.
I guess probably a similar thing.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, different ending. So I don't know. Maybe I blew it for you, but
No, I mean that doesn't necessarily
and
do
I'm
it. So
purposely not
yeah,
saying who the killer is for someone who does want to
I can't
go
remember the
through
killer's name.
and
So
listen. I didn't know his name either. No, I meant in the Audible.
well, I can't
So
remember the killer's name.
yeah, which
Yeah, so
yeah, I didn't remember his name either. But we just
oh
say it's a
well,
him. So
or maybe not. Who knows? What are we hoping is coming or not? So for me, again, I'm excited because I didn't realize that there's going to be more murders, and so I can't wait to see where they take it. That's honestly what I'm most excited for is where are we going? Who's getting murdered? I think the card at the end to Ray, how he looked at the horse and he had kind of
right.
this like intrigued look. I feel like he is involved in the next one, but we'll see. So I'm a little intrigued by that.
They're going at the backstory much faster and differently. So I'm interested in seeing, does the backstory and her secret past come into play more. That doesn't really until I want to say, I think it's like the last story of season 2. By the way,
Mm.
season 3 just came out. But I think it's like the last story of season 2 is where you finally find out what her backstory is. So it's quite a ways down the road. Like she hints and teases, but
Hmm.
I think they're going
Now,
to be going faster with
is
that
the
here.
Audible series called Mistletoe
Yep.
Murder? Okay,
Yep.
just in case people are listening, they're like, "How do I find it?" Okay, and it's
Same
only on Audible.
and same writer. Yeah, it's an
Only
Audible
Audible.
original.
So you can't
And
get it on like a Spotify or Apple podcast thing.
yeah,
No.
nope.
Okay. Great.
It's called a podcast, but it's essentially an audiobook.
Okay.
And I think the only reason they call it a podcast is because it is these short segments rather than a long book. It's like short stories, essentially.
Okay. Okay. Well, my final thoughts on kind of this episode is I would love this to be an ongoing just mystery series, like a weekly, again, like a Murder, She Wrote. I think Fletcher's Grove is a great just place to have it. They have the pieces in terms of, hey, we have the place of business. We've got this cool barn. I don't know if the barn would be in any more episodes, but I would love to go back to the barn. You have some fun, like just environment with Fletcher's Grove, that cute little where they had their hot chocolates. So they have this set, I feel like, there, but to come back every week, it doesn't have to be just around Christmas, but I feel like that would be a really fun thing for us to do.
Well, you'll like if they do stick true to the Audible. You will like it because it definitely stays small town in all the stories.
No, those were the best Murder, She Wrote.
So,
So perfect. What about you? Any final thoughts?
My final thought, I guess it's similar to you. I think Sarah Drew, who I've always been, don't hate her, don't love her. She's just sort of whatever, guiding Emily. Like you're 3, right? You're just
I liked
non
getting him.
like
Clearly
this,
more
but
than you did.
she's just whatever. She kills it in the series. She is
She
so
was in
good, and
Grey's
like
Anatomy too.
that's so
Did
my
you not know that?
niece, I found that out. My
Oh.
niece, she sent me a thing, and she's they all got COVID, and she's like, I went and I just got Hallmark Plus for while we're homesick, and she's gotten into finding Mr. Christmas, and she's like, what should I watch? And so I told her to watch this, and she's like, oh my God, that's whoever. I've never seen ER, right? And so she's
Grey's
like,
Anatomy.
that's or Grey's Anatomy, and so she's like, that's whatever from Grey's Anatomy, which I didn't watch either, by the way. And so she totally was into it, and she loved it. But Sarah Drew, she just handles this role so good, so good. So I agree with you. They should keep it going, turn it into a regular series. It's one of the best of the year. So
Well, Hallmark trivia this week I decided to do because we did get some Steve Lund flashbacks, not many, but we did get one. So I have Steve Lund was
is
inspired.
6'3".
No, but he was inspired to start acting because of Indiana Jones, and he's played professional hockey. He also didn't have a home for a while and couch surfed on friends' couches when times were a little rough for himself. And then he recently learned how to paint for a movie project that he was in. So those are little Steve Lund facts that I found. What do you got?
Well, I went back to our little friend Violet, who 26-year-old teenager, and she has her first novel. She's a accomplished writer as well. Dark Cove Theater Society. I guess there was a big bidding war, and they finally got rights to it, and it's scheduled to come out in 2025. So she is, in addition to being a talented actor, she's also a talented writer.
Well, fan corner, I have nothing over here because I didn't do any polls for the second Mistletoe Murder episode. Do you have anything?
I got nothing other than
Nothing.
I read our Google reviews and people, not our Google reviews, our Apple reviews, and I'm mixing my business with the podcast. And wow, people are saying nice things about us over there, saying they appreciate how we are the only mystery one, and they like the fact we just talk mysteries. So we do too.
Well, next week, we're going to just stick with our Mistletoe Murder after this week's fiasco with our movie choice. So we're going to just do Mistletoe Murder episode 3, and then we'll do a recap of the Christmas movies that we watched. Again, I'm really not sure if I'm going to keep watching all of them. Stay tuned. But I will watch the Jingle Bell Run. I think that one looks cute. So
Like I say, I think you're going to be surprised. So
this is why people rely on us to review the movies. I now see why, because they don't want to have to watch these stinkers that we do.
Yeah.
So I feel like I want to kind of be like someone who can I trust, Eric?
Well,
I don't know if I can trust you because you would have told me to watch 5 Gold Rings. I would have been like,
I would say it's slow, and I know you don't like slow, so I'd give you that there. So my routine is I wake up at 4 and I watch it before I go walk the dogs. It's an hour and 24 minutes. So I have to walk the dogs at 5:30. So I'm able to get my movie in and then I go walk the dogs.
I will say the Netflix one with the Pentatonics and Christina Milian. That one was super cute. That was
you
super
watched it?
Cute. I did. I really enjoyed that.
I heard everyone say it is good.
Yes, loved it. Loved it. Lindsay Lohan's coming out with a Christmas one, which I enjoy. Lindsay Lohan. Oh yeah, Lacey's. Yeah, with their snowman.
That one's like the Jesse Hutch when he was the whatever snowman who turns into real life. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it's different than that one. But
I'm okay. Right now, Netflix, well, the one that I watched, I would recommend over the majority of the Hallmark ones besides the charade one. So I'd watch and I can't remember what it's called, but it's the Pentatonics one. That one's cute. Give that a watch. If you're like, hey, maybe I don't want to dive into some of these Hallmark Christmas movies, go that route for right now.
Or just watch Mistletoe Murders again.
Or My Scottish Christmas.
On that note, I think it's time to say goodnight.
All right, bye.
Goodbye, Andrea.